Gillen, ladies and gentlemen.
If you walk with Jesus, He's gonna save your soul. You gotta beat the devil way down in the hole.
Well, you're welcome to the show.
Hi.
You recognise that piece of music, of course?
I do, yeah.
Popular TV show called The Wire, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Welcome home. You're from Dublin, aren't you?
I am from Dublin, yeah.
What part do you?
From Condra.
Drumcondra, but you're not living here now. You're abroad.
Living abroad, yeah.
Are you America or
Yeah,
London?
I'm pretty much kind of moving between the States and London, and spending a bit of time here as well.
Well, the big break in some ways was Queer as Folk, from which we showed a clip of there. Aidan. Why it was considered very much groundbreaking television at the time, wasn't it? Why was it considered so?
I guess it was groundbreaking and also controversial because it had at its heart a relationship between a 15-year-old boy and a 29-year-old man, and that there was no attempt to justify or make excuses on behalf of these characters or of the other characters in the show for who they were, why they were the way they were, what they wanted, the lives they wanted to lead. It was just taken as a given. And it was just a really fantastic piece of writing by Russell T. Davies, who's a brilliant writer. It wasn't about their sexuality, it was about who they are, who they were. It was about Manchester. It was a panoramic drama about Manchester,
Yes.
And this is who we are, and that's it, end of story.
And you then, as an actor, it was an important role for you, do you believe?
Yeah, well, they're all important.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, for me, probably kind of led to more exposure than anything else I'd ever done before, but that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, I did it because I thought it was a brilliant part.
Sure.
And because the script was brilliant, and I couldn't not do it.
Yeah.
I looked at it, and what I saw was really the story of this 15-year-old boy, who was, although he was brash, he was vulnerable. He was in a vulnerable position, and it was about him finding his way, learning how to cope and to kick against those that might try and hold him back, and throw flack his way.
Yeah, I was kind of watching an episode of it last night, and I noticed that you maintain your Irish accent in a show it's British, essentially. And you see Ger Ryan, I think, was your sister in it?
Well, she's my mother.
Your mother, excuse me, sorry. And it's a compliment to Ger, of course. And Maria
Dole Kennedy was my sister. Ian McElhenney was my father, yeah. I mean, how that came about was, it wasn't written as an Irish character. When we did when I went along to do the first read-through, I had this Manchester accent, which was a kind of a posh Manchester accent, which I'd based on someone had to take that and kind of poshed it up a bit.
Which one?
I don't know which one.
Or just a random
I don't really know which one is which. But Charles McDougall, who's the director and he's a good friend of mine, did this reading, and he's like, "Why, what are you doing? Why are you using that accent? You don't have to." And I was like, "Well, it's Manchester, and I'm supposed to be from Manchester." And he says, "Look, it doesn't matter. We really like your accent, and it makes you kind of stand out. So just do that, and don't worry about it. It's better, The family situation, like the mother, the sister, the Irish actors we were just talking about.
Yes.
It didn't come in until after episode 4 or whatever. When I read it first, I thought it was a 4-part series. I thought I was signing up for a 4-part series, actually. And it turned out it was an 8-part series. So that didn't really come into it in my head. What about my family? What about where was I brought up? All this stuff. So in episode 5, 6, 7, 8 or whatever, they cast, it was Ger Ryan, Maria Dole Kennedy and Ian McElhenney.
When you started out, Aidan, did you find it tricky? Was it troublesome to get into it in terms of auditions, agents?
Yeah.
It's notoriously difficult.
Well, when I started acting when I was like 13, 14, so like early 80s.
Sure.
By the time I was 17 and left school, I had my equity card. so I thought I knew my way around. There still wasn't like a fantastic infrastructure for 17-year-old actors trying to make it, in Dublin. And the agent's situation was not good. I mean, I had an agent, but he wasn't really an agent. He was more like a thief. And like the first two film parts I got within a week, in the same week. One was a film that Maggie Smith and Bob Hoskins did here called Lonely Passionate Judith Hearn, which was directed by Jack Clayton, who's a real old school director. He was John Huston's first AD for like all of those, classic John Huston films, like The African Queen, all of that stuff, everything. The other bit was a thriller called The Courier. Now, The Courier is not the most fantastic film ever made, but it was kind of the first of a kind.
Gabriel Byrne.
Gabriel Byrne
gritty,
was
wasn't
in
it? I mean,
yeah, well, it was an attempt to make a modern, urban, crime drama in Dublin, and I think it kind of paved a road in a way, and a lot of good people were involved, and like Courtship Reardon was in it, and so Elvis Costello did some music, and Neil Jordan was one of the executive producers. I mean, there was good people behind it. Yeah. I don't think it really. Anyway, the reason I'm mentioning these is because those were the first two paid film parts that I actually got. But it's 3 months or something. I'm ringing up George Harrison's office in Handmade Films, who produced Lonely Passionate Judith Hearn, saying, "Where's my money? I did this 2-day part in your film, months ago, but they paid my agent / thief." But that was the thing, and
I know you're over that. That's the main
I'm
thing.
over that, but yeah, I am over that.
You've only mentioned it 3 times.
The thing was that for the first few years, and including getting those jobs, I used to hustle a lot, and you'd have to kind of find out what was going on where, and just show up, doorstop people, follow people home, stick things in letterboxes, follow people down the street. My first professional theatre job, which led to me moving to London and kind of probably having the career that I've had, was it was initiated in a similar way with this really great theatre director called Robin Lefebvre, who was directing one of Billy Roach's plays called Handful of Stars in the Bush Theatre in London, which was the place to work in London in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, it still is, but it specialises in, they only do new plays, new writing.
And it's all a far cry from. You bounced on to Circle of Friends at one stage, I know, and
yes.
Why are you gritting your teeth like that?
I'm not.
You are. You just did that.
I didn't.
You did. I was looking at you. You did this. Yeah.
Oh, it's just an involuntary reaction. I don't know why I did it.
How?
I had a good time doing that. It was really sweet. I mean, that was, I think, the next Irish film that I got cast in. Which was in '94.
Yes.
And I'd been working a lot in kind of television and theatre between when I went to London first in '88 and right up to then. No, I did enjoy that, actually. I had this part where I played the boyfriend of Geraldine O'Rourke. Her character was Nan, and my character was called Aidan. And I didn't have a lot to do except kind of sit around doe-eyed, kind of looking at Nan, wishing that I could. Can
I talk to you about The Wire, because it's just such a phenomenal success. It's kind of got cult status among a lot of people in this country and around the world, and your role in it is, it's a powerful role, it's a powerful program. Mm-hmm. Your accent is extraordinary, if I may say so. Like, it's spot on.
Thank you.
Do you want to see Aidan? Have a look at this. It's great stuff. Great show.
I believe that there is a different way of governing, and I believe that in the end we will be judged not by the efforts we make on behalf of those who vote for us or those who contribute to our campaigns or those who provide for our tax base. I believe that we will be judged by what we provide to the weakest and most vulnerable. That is the test. That is my test. Somebody is killing homeless men in this city. They are taking the lives of fellow citizens who do not have the means or the strength to properly protect themselves. They will be stopped. We will do everything in our power to stop them. You have my word on this.
How do you explain the success of that program?
Well, The Wire, for those who don't know that much about it, is a what became a 60-part series made for HBO, set in Baltimore, Maryland, which is what might be termed a Rust Belt city on the America's East Coast. It's between Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. It's a neglected city. It used to have big shipbuilding and port industry, steel industry, Bethlehem Steel, all that closed down. So it's got a lot of crime, it's got a lot of unemployment, it's got a lot of problems. The people who created The Wire had also created a previous TV series called Homicide, namely David Simon, who's the creator. He used to be a crime reporter on Baltimore Sun. He knows the city inside out, he cares about it, and he wrote this series as a kind of, I don't know, people say The Wire is bleak, you know, but I see it as a love letter to Baltimore, and it's one that's written in a very strange and complex way. And what it's trading in is unerring intelligence and integrity, a refusal to compromise or patronize or sensationalize or glorify violence, you know. It's a political tract is what it is.
But it's also, if I may, with great regret I have to cut you off because we have to keep to say goodbye, but it's Barack Obama's favourite TV programme. If that gives you any indication as to where it's going, and you're tremendous in it. The box set is out on December the 5th, and it's been a pleasure having you on the programme.
Thank you.
Aidan Gillen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aidan.